Hi there, namaste, and welcome back to another spiritualistic pick a card reading. Today I'm channeling a message to you from Source, so please take a deep breath, drawing the energy up your spine, creating a clear and open channel. And as you exhale, allow yourself to come into clear knowing which group or groups has your message in it for you today. We have group number 1 on the left with gratitude practice, group number 2 in the center with clarity, and group number 3 on the right with heightened awareness. As always, the timestamps to your readings are listed below in the description box, as well as all the rest of my personal information if you're interested in linking up on social media, or if you'd like a personal reading or Reiki session as well. I also offer my mini decks, such as my mini oracle here and the graphic tarot I'll be using in today's reading. Thank you once more for being here. I love you, and I'll see you at your reading. Namaste. Hi there, namaste, and welcome to your reading. Today I'm channeling a message to you from Source, and you selected the first group with the gratitude practice card from my mini oracle deck. The first message that I'm connecting with here for you today is that you have been releasing all the things that do not serve you in order to create space for some beautiful new energies coming in, albeit a lot, or like a large quantity, or a very large blessing coming in. Your gratitude practice is something that has been highlighted for you over the years. And there's a message coming through here to remember that it is great to keep a level head. It is beautiful to stay detached. It is beautiful to experience new beginnings. And at the same time, you are being called to remind yourself to add gratitude for yourself into your gratitude practice. Gratitude for the light within you and the light in general, because the light of Source is the light within you. The light and dark of Source is the light and dark within you. The gratitude practice of Source is the gratitude practice of you. You're being called to remember that all of these shapes and sizes and colors and manifestations of you, of your life, of your experiences, your subjective things like your emotions and your thoughts and your body, your objective things like your true spiritual nature, your perhaps routine, things like this. These are all beautiful and deserve equal time and space in your gratitude practice. Sometimes it is easier to be grateful for the blessings, and it's also sometimes easier to be grateful for getting through difficult situations. And Source would like to remind you that gratitude for everything in between is beautiful. It doesn't just have to be the air that you breathe or winning the lottery. It doesn't just have to be waking up today or reaching that milestone in your career. It can be things like being grateful for sitting in a chair, even though you also like sitting on the floor. It can be things like reminding yourself to look within, and instead of maybe being a little hard on ourselves and seeing where we can forgive ourselves or where we can tweak something a little bit, or trying to behave in a way that we think is the way that we should behave, whether this is through society, or whether it's through spirituality, or whether it's through your own belief system and morals, reminding yourself that the way that you are is already perfect. Is there room to grow and evolve? Yeah, of course. Do you always want to grow and evolve? The energy here seems like it. But Source would like to remind you today, group number 1, to add yourself in your gratitude practice today as you are, whether it's a little happier or sadder than yesterday, whether it's a little more or less evolved than you would expect, whether it's good or bad or anywhere in between. Adding yourself the way you are today perfectly into your gratitude practice is the first message coming forward for you. Messages from Source to group number 1. We have right out the bat the 4 of Pentacles. Okay, with the World card coming out as well. There's a message coming through here to look at the things that you have held back from or held yourself back from in the past because of expectations of others. And this might be what you think the spiritual expectation of something is. For example, if you think that you shouldn't go towards something because you think that it's karmic, or you think that it's ancestral, or if you think, for example, that you shouldn't go towards something because it's something that would not progress you spiritually in your perspective, or perhaps in the perspective of someone else you might be listening to, or in an old, outdated belief system that you might still have circling around in your mind. We have the Ten of Pentacles at the back of the deck. So this is a message to keep an open mind pertaining to what it is that brings you that Ten of Pentacles energy, what brings you that fulfillment, that happiness. We see that you are or have been recently closing out a cycle about holding yourself back from something that you truly want. Perhaps it's because you think you need to be strong. Perhaps it's because you've done something before, you don't want to go there again. Perhaps it's because you think that you need to grow a certain amount, or because you are taking a more observer perspective of life, where you are perhaps thinking that, sure, life is beautiful to experience, but you don't want to get overly attached. You are here enjoying yourself. You are here enjoying your life. You are here being grateful, and you are also aware that the physical realm is an illusion. Source would like to remind you that you have a very logical perspective when it comes to the difference between the cosmos, the realm of consciousness, and the physical reality. However, there is also a message coming through to beware of holding yourself back from fun because you think you have to be strong enough to close out the parts of you that want to experience that. You might be creating some internal struggles for yourself that could just be simply ameliorated by saying thank you. There's a little bit of an energy here pertaining to you finding happiness in unexpected places, behind doors that you might not have stepped through right away. Primarily because there's some predisposed belief about what it means to be strong, what you should be holding yourself back from, what should make you happy, what cycles you're supposed to be closing out, or perhaps even what is realistic and possible for you. Source would like to remind you that you are here to be unique, and you are also here to be divine, and the perfect balance of the two allows yourself to sometimes do things that might go against your individual perspective, because it might be the divine working through you instead, being one and the same. Alternatively, there might be some things that you have decided in the past not to move towards because you could feel that it was something that you as a unique individual desired, as opposed to something that your intuition was working through you. Source would like to leave you the message today, group number 1, to be grateful for the in-betweens, be grateful for the transitions, be grateful for the unknowns, be grateful for perhaps the things that are pleasurable to you as an individual, because that is divine. And to also be grateful for the things that are divinely intervened in your life, because they do have your individual best interest at heart. To remember that you and divine are one and the same. To remember that your perspective of the divine is still veiled between you and the divine. To remember that to think of the divine is incongruent to the fact that the divine is also your thoughts. The divine is also the things that occur in your life. The divine is also everything you're grateful for and everything that you're not. It's also everything in your life that seems hot or cold or difficult or easy or egoic or inspired. And so there is a message here to continue to put one foot in front of the other and to continue to build, because you are on the road to mastery of your individual connection with yourself. You finding your happiness, you finding your peace, you allowing yourself to walk towards and walk through those doors that perhaps you feel as though maybe you're not 100% certain you should be walking through, can sometimes be the thing that leads you to liberation, the thing that leads you to balance. And while this is not to say to conscientiously put yourself in a difficult situation, Source would like to remind you that without certain situations, you wouldn't have grown into who you are today. And while this is not to say that you are supposed to just be grateful for the things that you genuinely don't feel grateful about, but it is to say that there is a perspective out there that shines light on the situation. And it is also to say that the thoughts that you have, the emotions that you feel, the body that you're in, everything from your ego, everything from your taste buds, everything from the tips of your fingers all the way through your connection with source consciousness and beyond is all divine. What we're looking at here is how personal you are getting with yourself, with those around you, with the world, with your inner strength, with different parts of yourself, and with your gratitude practice. How personal, again, are you getting in your gratitude practice? Are you grateful for the air that you breathe and the food that you eat in the happy times and the sad times? Are you also, group one, grateful for you, exactly the way that you are? Because the more that you love yourself, the more you love the divine. The connection you have between you and yourself is the same connection you have between you and the divine. And while it might be easier to change the setting on the telescope a little bit, to kind of move the kaleidoscope around so that you can have a more comfortable dynamic of your understanding of those perspectives, at the end of the day, they mirror each other. Allow yourself to set the reflection to clarity so that you can be just as grateful for you as you are for the divine. So you can be just as grateful for the divine as you are for you. So that you can allow yourself to fully and fearlessly walk towards the life that is opening up before you without holding yourself back, without taking leaps of faith that are outside of your comfort zone, because you are realizing that your impulses are divine and the divine is your impulses. This is not to say this is the only manifestation of such. This is not to say there's not room to grow and evolve, but this is to say that sometimes you have to look south in order to know where north is. Sometimes you have to look up in order to know where down is. But remember, all the same, as within, so without, as above, so below. There's no need to change your direction. There's no need to hold yourself back. There's no need to propel yourself forward. Be grateful for you, where you are, as you are today. Group number one, that is your channeled message from Source. I hope this helped shed love, light, and clarity for you. And as always, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, week, month, year, and incarnation in this beautiful, magical realm. I love you, I'm grateful for you, and I'll see you next time. Namaste. Hi there, group two. Namaste, and welcome to your reading. Today I'm channeling a message to you from Source, and you selected the second group with the Clarity card. Connecting here, the first thing that I'm getting is that there is a grace and a gentleness that you are stepping into. It's giving like a softness, it's giving a nurturing kind of feminine energy. And I'm also receiving the crystal Larimar for those of you who are interested in working with that. With the Clarity card, it seems as though there is an element of push and pull that is occurring like the waves in your life. Source would like to remind you that sometimes the water that allows you to see the clearest is often the water that is still. Allow yourself to find moments of stillness throughout your day, throughout your week, throughout your life, whether this is waking up an extra hour early and dedicating a whole hour to meditating, or it is simply taking a moment to close your eyes and take a deep breath before stepping into the other room and going about your day. There is an energy of unconditional love that is coming through you, and that is also coming to you. Source would like to remind you that you do not have to be the hero of your life or of anyone else's life, but pertaining to the manifestation of your spiritual abilities, you have excessive clarity. This also does not make it your responsibility to provide for others in this way. You deserve stillness too. You deserve reciprocity. You deserve to receive too. Just because you have something to give does not mean that it is your birthright to give it. And just because you might be as an analogy, a lemon does not mean that you deserve to then get squeezed dry. Rather, if you move through love and you allow yourself to be in situations where this divine unconditional love, this expansive, this exponentially expanding infinite like the universe love, to step into your life in different situations, in moments of stillness and moments of clarity, you will not feel like the lemon getting squeezed. Rather, you might feel like a lemon that is appreciated and promptly propagated so that it can turn into a tree. And that tree can turn into a grove. And that grove can revitalize the land. There is a difference here between instant gratification and long-term investment for yourself and those around you. There is a message here about you having clarity pertaining to long-term investments for you, but often feeling bad to perhaps neglect others of their instant gratification of a resource that is yours to begin with. The message that's coming through here is to remind yourself that you deserve space to breathe. You deserve not only to have clarity, but to be able to act through clarity as well. Not because you do not see clearly, but because you might see one thing, know one thing, behave accordingly on your own. But when other people or situations get into the mix, you might shift your behavior by 1 or 2 degrees so that you can accommodate the whims of others, the push and pull of others, so that you can keep your peace, perhaps so that you can stay still. Continue to prioritize your internal well-being, not by compromising by just 1 degree for the situations around you, but rather by letting yourself find stillness in a dedicated time throughout the day, in short moments throughout the day, and also to look at yourself as the beautiful, abundant miracle of nature that you are. What one does with a lemon is different for everyone. And while the lemon might not necessarily choose the people that come around and pick it up, the divine has a bit of a plan for you. And trust in this plan, knowing that the lemon, while it might not necessarily be able to always choose who picks it up, Source can. And this is not to say that if you feel like you've been picked up and squeezed, that this is Source's hand, although it's not to say that it's not. But it is to say to trust in the stillness, trust in not needing to push and not needing to pull, so that you can be still in that clarity. And when you are still in this clarity, someone will come along, a situation will come along, Source will come along, and you will be properly planted. And you will turn into a grove. And of course, with the grove, there are lemons that can turn into juice. They can be squeezed, they can be lemonade, they can grow whole other grows. But it all depends on the way that that first lemon is treated. You are a ripple in still water, or you are being called to become one. But in order for this to be the case, the water must first be still, in order for the ripple to be seen with clarity, to be understood for what it truly is. Okay, group number 2, let's get into your tarot. I am, of course, hearing the song Ripple by the Grateful Dead, so you might want to listen to that. That music video also has a tarot reading in it, if you would be interested in perhaps clicking through that and reading, if you are interested in that as well. Group number 3, messages from Source. Yeah, moving through love. I'm hearing the song Blackest Night by Minako. Okay. Messages from source to group number 2. Believe in the good things coming. Just because you have been a lemon squeezed before does not mean that you cannot be a lemon planted and grown. Knight of Cups with the Two of Cups. You are currently, or are about to be, planted into a surprising environment. Now, I'm being shown clairvoyantly that you're being planted in a field, but perhaps you might be the first thing that is planted in this field. So you might be looking around at some soil, and you might not know if it's good soil because you don't see other plants growing. You might not see the house that has not been built yet by the farmer because it starts with you. You might not necessarily see that your lemon will be turned into a whole entire grove. But without even seeing the tree yet, without seeing other trees, just seeing yourself being planted in the dirt, you might not necessarily see the way ahead. Source would like to let you know, group number 2, that there is a very good, very positive, very beautiful new beginning coming for you. And that while you might be feeling certain things amp up in your life, you are being called to maybe slow down, pull back, and I'm not really getting like setting boundaries very specifically, but I am getting kind of allowing yourself to be a crab with a shell. With this energy coming through, you might feel as though you are a lighthouse, you are a light in the dark, you are the first tree in the grove, you are the one that stands out. Just as you are taking a leap of faith through Source in your life, Source is, in a way, taking a leap of faith with you by trusting a divine purpose with you. And so while your job is to have faith, while your job is to find moments of stillness, while your job is to believe in the good things that are coming, you might feel as though if you can make those around you a little happier, if you can make the environment a little more suitable, if you can have a little more faith, if you can do a little more, that things might just work out faster or better or sooner. And the messages here for you today very strongly relay the fact that your intuition and your emotions are leading you towards the right place. And that sometimes water does fit to its container. Now, water is a beautiful tool. And Source is saying that you are much like water. Because sometimes it is that moment of stillness, that moment of clarity, that moment of transparency that are the most beautiful. But as water does fit to its container, as the tides do get pushed and pulled by gravity in the moon, as water does take the shape of the words and affirmations and energies that we speak and put into it, oftentimes, now the water does not forget that it's water, but it can also turn into an infinite amount of other things. All the while, it is the water that feels this, it is the water that experiences this, and on the outside, it's still water. On the outside, it's still a lemon, but on the inside, you know how many times you've been squeezed. So, Source would like to remind you that sometimes you might feel like you're being buried, and that if this is the case, this might just be you being given a shell. It might be you being planted to be the first tree of a garden. And there is also an energy of trusting that you have plenty of time yet left to figure out all the solutions, to figure out why you're in certain situations, to put together the things that you wish to put together, and to not just have clarity, but act with clarity, and not just act with clarity, but know the clarity. I'm getting to remind you that things like meditation, things like yoga, things like breath work, when we're not practicing them, they seem like they take time. But Source would like to remind you that these are the things that make time. Connecting with the versions of you that exist outside of time, the creator version of you that made time, these things make time in your life. They don't take time. And while it can sometimes be so easy to get wrapped up in the organization, in the push and the pull, in tracking the tides, in understanding the lifespan of the lemon, sometimes it is truly trusting that when you have faith in the divine, it's because the divine is having faith in you, because you're both equally trustworthy. This transparency here is what is being drawn to you today. Source would like to remind you that you are very intelligent, that you can fend for yourself, that you have better things coming to you every day than the last, and that you deserve a soft, decompressed, gentle, almost feminine, receptive chapter of life. And so, when you might be confused when you're getting buried in the dirt, allow yourself to enjoy the earthing, to enjoy the cool, to enjoy the quiet and the solitude. When you are taking that one breath with your eyes closed before stepping into that room and going about your day, same thing. When you are water and you're being pushed and pulled and spoken into and adjusted and filtered and everything, you are still water. So, just because you have much resource to you, just because you have much potential to you, just because you are filled with love and light and a plethora of beauty and abundance, trust that this is why. And to go back to the beginning, Source would like to remind you that you deserve to act in perfect 0-point integrity. Not 1 degree to the right or 1 degree to the left. Not that a lemon or water can really do much about it. But this is to say that when you are in stillness, oftentimes your experience will be pulled towards you. It will come towards you. The waves get pushed and pulled. The waves don't push and pull. So it does take divine surrender. But trust that although you might feel like you are getting picked up by strange hands, or you are getting pushed in an unknown direction by the moon, or someone is speaking a foreign language into your water, you don't know what it is, trust that you are making your way to exactly where you're supposed to be. And it will be a place that makes you fulfilled and happy. So continue to take moments of stillness and allow yourself to surrender enough to be still. And challenge yourself to be still enough to surrender. Okay, group number 2, that is your channeled message from Source. I hope this helped shed love, light, and clarity for you. And as always, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, week, month, year, and incarnation in this beautiful magical realm. I love you, and I'm grateful for you. I'll see you next time. Namaste. Hi there, group 3. Namaste, and welcome to your reading. Today I'm channeling a message to you from Source, and you selected the 3rd group with the Heightened Awareness card. Connecting here, the first thing that I'm receiving is that you've completed a chapter in the physical expression of such. And now there is still this expansion of awareness and the spiritual release and consciousness that you are now tapping in with, leading to heightened awareness. There seems to be a connectivity with infinity, with cosmic consciousness, with infinite supply of something, infinite love that is coming through, as well as abundance. You are being called at this point in time to cherish the night time for some reason. And I'm also getting here that you are connecting more deeply with the beauty of the land of the animals, of the spirit as is manifest through everything. There is a sense of heightened consciousness that's coming through for you. And Source would like to make it clear that you do not own your body. You do not own any land. You do not own any air. You do not own any person or plant or animal or spark of spirit. This is important to remember as you continue along your spiritual journey. Oftentimes we think that we own what is within our hands. Oftentimes we think that we own even our spirit because we can remember perhaps other lifetimes. But Source would like to remind you that nothing belongs to anything. Everything simply is. And that certain things might be atoms or particles or antiparticles combined together to make matter or antimatter. Remember that this does not mean that to walk through one or the other of those so intently does not lead to some sort of illusion. All that we perceive to be matter is still just particles of space. All that we perceive to be invisible is simply invisible to us. And all that we perceive about ourselves, even in our soul's journey, is still very, very, very relative. Not only because it's subjective to us, but also because we are just remembering one memory of the great consciousness that we all share. Not just here on Earth, not just in the spiritual community, not just in our galactic neighborhood, if you will, for those things do not belong to us either. Remind yourself to not push too forward or fall too back, because in reality, the heightened awareness that you are cracking into, group number 3, simply is. Is does not own, is does not have, is does not do, is does not manifest. Is not the manifest nor the unmanifest. It is that space in between. It is not the inhale, it is not the exhale, it is the space in between. So with this heightened awareness, allow yourself to find the grooves in between. And Source would like to remind you that you may be familiar with certain things that are around you from perhaps other places, other consciousnesses, other lifetimes, other experiences that are very tangible to you physically or spiritually. And Source would also like to remind you that while one can shed light onto the darkness, is still in between. This does not belong to you either. And this should bring a sense of liberation. It is not to negate your experience, but rather to allow you to observe it, because you are not your body, you are not your mind, you are not even your string of experiences in this body or in this mind or across several bodies or across several minds. So, Source would like to remind you, group number 3, that you are awakening into a new season, a new chapter, and you will be met here with others who are able to understand. There will be passion, there will be integrity, there will be freedom here in this place. And you are being reminded that everything that ever was always will be, and everything that ever will be already has always been. Outside of time, you can see connectivity between many things at once, but things are not confined to the connections that you are able to make or you are able to feel. Outside of time, you do not look at lifetimes as past, present, future. You may see them as parallel. And if you're on a soul integration process, you are simply drawing particles back to source. They are being dispersed or they're coming together, when in reality the connectivity is it is that space between the inhale and the exhale. It is that space in between. It is, for lack of a better term, and to use my vocabulary along with the message that I'm receiving, Kriya. So let's take a look at your tarot, group number 3, and let's see what Source would like for you to know. Messages to group number 3 from Source. You have the Four of Pentacles in reverse, the Seven of Swords upright. Don't hold back. Okay, there seem to be energies around. Okay. I'm being called to get the full picture before I start channeling, unlike the other two piles. Messages, please, from Source to group number 3. Okay, beautiful. So, group number 3. Do not hold back your unconditional love because of your boundaries. And as unconditional love does not mean unconditional boundaries. Unconditional love is really truly unconditional. So do not hold this back because of your fear or your experience, your perception of what is material or even spiritual around you. Someone behaved a certain way in a past life and you remember it, so you don't trust them now. Well, is that what you needed to know in order to evolve and grow? Or is that the truth in is consciousness? In is consciousness, only is what's true. You are being reminded here that spiritually, you have the foundation that you seek. You have the information that you need. And this is not to mean even illusions of the material realm or even illusions of the astral realm, which, yes, this is this as well. Remind yourself that the way that you experience things, it is not through your sensory organs and your physical body, but it is through your astral body. And this is what experiences through the sensory perceptors. This is what you feel. The subtle energy body and the feelings, the emotions, the astral, these are all connected. Our body is a veil, our body is a vessel, and our neurons fire and our brainwaves fire, but it is your astral that experiences. It is your astral that sees past, present, future, parallel lifetimes. And it is the transcendence of this astral that transcends that consciousness as well, because something does not truly belong to you, meaning anything at all. There is a freedom that you are being welcomed into, and it's going to require you to lend out a helping hand to one where, for any reason, you might believe that a foundation here is idyllic, idealistic, meaning, sure, it would be nice, but perhaps not the best idea, given some sort of perception that you are learning doesn't belong to you either. Source would like to remind you, group 3, that you and your ability to collapse frameworks, not only in your mind, but in your consciousness, your ability to open up those Russian dolls, if you will, to find what is truly at the center, your ability to find what is in between the inhale and the exhale, is going to be the thing that allows you to feel liberated, and will be the thing that allows you to close out and release this chapter spiritually. You are growing a lot spiritually, and there is an energy here where you have, if you so choose, the potential to be a leader for other particles who are ready to travel in a particular direction. No more, no less. As there is the particle, there's the antiparticle, and what is most important is what is in between. You may find yourself being drawn to both the particle and antiparticle so that you can lead both in the middle. Because when you are in an access point, when you are at that spot in the center, it is then that you have access to all and all has access to you. It is also then that you seem to have full perspective, but also perhaps unique perspective. Allow yourself to stay fearlessly in that space in between. Source would like for you to know that you are about to have a spiritual awakening that will be one of the largest of your life. And while you might very much wish for this to belong to you, remember that the further down the rabbit hole, if you will, you get, the less it really does belong to you. This is not to mean that you owe it all to others and not to yourself. It is simply to say that your consciousness is in a place between you and others. So it is not simply yours. It is not simply theirs. It is not yours and by default theirs. And it is not theirs and by default yours. It is rather the space in between. As you breathe into this space, you inhale and you exhale. Find again that space in between and allow that space to grow. And as that space grows, allow your consciousness to expand. Allow the consciousness to experience itself through your body. And as you do, you will find that life becomes more and more magical and more tangible at the same time. You cannot dive deeper into the particle without diving deeper into the antiparticle at some point in some life. You cannot dive deeper into the antiparticle without diving deeper into the particle at some point in some life. So, as you expand the space in between, you will deepen and strengthen your relationship to both, while staying detached from either, because they do not belong to you, nor you it. Group number 3, that is your channeled message from Source. I hope this helps shed love, light, and clarity for you. And as always, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, week, month, year, and incarnation in this beautiful magical realm. I love you, I'm grateful for you, and I will see you next time. Namaste.